All right, we are all set, guys. Everybody, so it's great to be here actually. So in this cafe. So tonight we are with Mr. Monfils again. So the guy who had been studying in Korea before, and so we had a video with him last time. And now we want to just ask him some questions, especially for you guys. Like some of you may just requested, and so. We're gonna just ask him some questions and we're gonna watch together and let's see how it's gonna work. So, Mr. Monfils, first of all, how are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I would say once again, it's great to be with you again, to have a conversation, meaningful conversation about our experiences, about life and everything. I'm great.
Great job. Thank you very much. So let's first of all, so straight up with the questions. The first question is for you here right now. Please just be specific about the question. So let's start with the expectations. So what were some of your initial expectations before going to Korea?
Well, sure. Before going to Korea, I had certain things in my mind. Like, for example, I thought that Korea is more of an English-friendly country. That's one thing. Also, I was expecting that Korea, as an advanced country, okay, had excellent educational system, rigorous training, and so on and so forth. So I would say, and then I was also expecting a vibrant culture, and I was planning on to, having delicious food and lots of technology. And I was excited really, to meet a variety of different kind of people, to have a conversation with them and make lots of Korean friends before going to Korea.
Great job. So there's also some really, great expectations which you mentioned, and so, but solid expectations. Now that you've been there, how did the reality compare to your expectations?
Well, as in everything, you expect certain thing, but the reality is something different. Okay, so it's a combination of my expectations and my surprises, I would say. There were certain parts of my expectation which came to be true, and some other parts which didn't. For example, in terms of education, I really did find that the education in Korea is extremely rigorous and challenging. But also, I found out that there's a heavy emphasis on examinations and homeworks and tasks and other stuff, I would say. So, intensity of the education itself sometimes was a little bit too much for me, I would say.
I see.
Well, that's one thing. In terms of cultural experience, yes, I found Korea to be extremely vibrant, colorful. In terms of food, it was really delicious, but also there were some problems, some issues. Like, I couldn't eat whatever I wanted in Korea. One reason behind is that I was Muslim, first of all. Therefore I had certain dietary restrictions. And majority of foods in Korea contains meat, especially pork or beef. So, they were out of the table for me, basically. And another thing was the language. I found out that Korea, although there are lots of people who know English language, still I did have some difficulty in interacting with people in Korea. Why? Because majority of people didn't speak English language. And in terms of making friends, since we has with the people with the barrier, the language barrier and the culture barrier, therefore it was sort of hard for me to make Korean friends, I would say. Yeah, well, that was one thing. And the last thing that I want to mention is the pace. The pace in Korea is really fast. I was really surprised by how fast they work, how intensely they work. There's a culture of pali in Korea. Basically, they say you have to do the work quickly, as quickly as possible. Pali means fast in Korean language. So that was it, I would say.
Great. So it sounds like a balanced experience. Yeah, can you tell us about some of the bright sides of studying in Korea?
Well, absolutely, I would say. You know, the first thing, as I said to you, the educational system is extremely rigorous. And it's not that you do not have an opportunity to study. Everything is being present for you. For example, the facilities are up to date. You know, if you want to make some sort of experiments, you're going to be able to do them because the laboratories at majority of universities in Korea are top notch, I would say. Also, academia, the professors with whom I worked, well, under whom I was learning materials, let's say, were extremely, what do you say, knowledgeable and competent and had lots of international experience. That was one thing. So, in terms of education, even though it's challenging, you can manage it. Okay, there are facilities, opportunities given to you for you to solely focus on your education. That's one thing. Another thing that I have to mention is that Korea is extremely safe and public transportation is extremely cheap. So, in terms of traveling and exploring Korea, you have tremendous opportunity. Go for it, I would say. I myself personally visited 12 cities within Korea and I loved it. You know, saying the one thing is different cities do have slightly different landscapes and cultures and the languages, I would say. So it was something to explore. The food also changes from city to city, I would say. So that's one thing that you should definitely do. And lastly, what can I say? Cultural immersion, as I told you, was also some sort of a highlight for me, I would say. Going to traditional markets, K-pop or K-drama, that's, although it wasn't a big part of my life, I would say, I still can say that I was enjoying it as well. Yeah.
I see. That's great. Yeah, good for you. So this sounds like wonderful, actually. So, but as with my experience, there are also challenges. What are some of the darker sides of studying? So in South Korea.
Definitely, you know, like there were challenges. As I said to you, education was extremely rigorous. At times, the academic pressure could be really overwhelming, and I personally experienced that kind of stuff, especially when you are financially burdened, which I was because, you know, I come from a poor, to some extent, family, so that's one thing. You know, there are, what can I say? What kind of problems? Like, you will have lots of exams and you will have lots of homeworks and the competition is extremely tough. It's almost impossible for you to take the top grades from the courses that you are taking because everybody studies really, really hard. So, as such, mental health can be a concern because of this stress. So, another problem would be the language, which I, again, personally experienced. Even though most of the people, lots of people, I can't say most of the people, lots of people speak English language. You know, if you're not being fluent in Korean, it can make your daily life and social interactions slightly difficult. And you know, as I mentioned, since the language becomes a barrier, sometimes you might feel yourself as a foreigner isolated. You can have a sense of isolation, especially in a homogeneous society like Korea. And finally, you know, since the cultures are extremely different and coming from very different kind of culture in South Korean, there were some cultural misunderstandings. I was expecting certain stuff, but then Koreans were expecting something totally different. That made sometimes life difficult as well.
Mm. It's actually just important to hear about both sides which we talked about, and so great to hear about that. So about them, and how did you cope with these challenges?
Well, I think probably the most important factor, maybe it's a blessing, maybe not. I used to know lots of people in Korea from a variety of countries, like foreigners, like I'm myself from Central Asia, Tajiks, yes, I used to know Uzbeks, I used to know Kyrgyz and Kazakhs, Russians even. So in that case, I was connected with the people. So being connected, having some sort of support network is extremely important. So I could read, like I connected with other international students, which helped a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Many universities also have, when you are feeling pressured, when you feel under pressure, stressful, they have counseling services and support groups. Learning as much as possible Korean would definitely help you in your future career if you want to stay in Korea. And even your daily life, because if you want to go to the market, you're not expecting that the vendor is going to be speaking English language. You've got to be able to explain yourself. Okay?
I see.
Not only that, but also, if you want to do some sort of a manual job, a part-time job, let's say, knowledge of Korean language is going to become crucial. And also, finally, trying to maintain a balance between academic responsibilities and personal life, making sure to take time for relaxation and exploration of the country is going to help you to offset the stress that has been accumulated throughout the semester, probably. So you're going to have lengthy period of vacations in between each semester, probably around 2 months or even more. So try to use it efficiently, or at least try to use it in such a way that when you start your new semester, you're going to be like as a fresh and new person. Understand?
I see. Yeah, great things and great opinions. Yes, as you just mentioned, challenges you just mentioned are great. Actually, just any final thoughts for those considering studying in South Korea?
Well, I will say go for it, but be prepared. Korea is a beautiful country. You can enjoy it. If you want to enjoy it, you're going to enjoy it. If you want to suffer, you're going to suffer as well. You can find everything. But again, my emphasis is to be prepared. Understand? Like, how? Learning Korean language. It's not an easy language, but also not extremely difficult. If you spend, let's say, 3 months rigorously studying Korean language, you can bring it to the elementary level. Okay? The alphabet is really easy, the grammar isn't that tough, The problem might arise with vocabulary, but that can be solved by means of memorizing consistently every day 5 to 10 different kind of words, okay? So that you will build up some sort of vocabulary for yourself. So that's one thing. Do your research, okay, about the people, about the culture, about your university that you're going, about the courses, and try to be open to new experiences. To some extent, try to embrace Korean culture. Don't be too blockish in a sense. Don't be like a wall. Like, there are good sides and bad sides of every kind of culture. Try to look at positive sides and try to, what do you say? Like, make it part of yourself. Okay? Learn.
Mm-hmm.
So that absorb positive sides of Korean culture. There are actually lots of positive sides in Korean culture, like discipline that they have shown. It was tremendous, extraordinary. I love it. I love Koreans just for the sake of them being punctual and disciplined. That's one quality that I really love seeing in the people, and most of the Koreans with whom I had a blessing of interacting with, let's say, had those kind of qualities. But also be mindful that there might be some, unexpected sort of people. It's a unique opportunity that's going to offer a lot of personal growth and learning to you. Definitely go for it, once again.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. So thank you so much, Mr. Ferris, for sharing your insights and experiences. It's been really enlightening and it's been really great. And so we're gonna just, hopefully present it to the people. So gonna just judge and things, maybe just comment down their opinions and their just knowledge with maybe they have had, or just for those who just thinking about. So write any questions. Maybe just we're gonna talk about them in the future. Hope so. All right. So yeah, great.
Yeah. Again, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be your guest, and it was my pleasure to share all the experience that I had while studying in Korea. So if anyone has any kind of questions, let them comment, let them write down whatever issue they have. We will definitely answer your questions.
Good, yeah. Thank you so much to our audience, first of all, and also lastly, so for tuning in, and until next time, man, God bless everybody.
So